Hello, good morning students. Welcome back. How are you all? Fine. Yesterday we were talking about the letter writing, correct or not? The teacher, what is her name? Mrs. Desai. She taught her students to write a letter to the principal, and that letter was on the table of principal sir. And then principal sir has to give some reply. So he told the librarian that to write down letter for class 4th, that telling that you are granted permission, or permission is granted for you to issue, you can take books at home. Okay. And then when this letter was written by the librarian to the students, what is the reaction of the students next day? Here it is now. Hey, great news, cried the monitor. Look, we have received a letter from the librarian. And guess what? We can take storybooks home to read. Wow, exclaimed Shruti with bright round eyes. Her eyes are round, and with bright round eyes, she said, wow. Goodbye, burden. Welcome, happy days, shouted Akshay. The letter from the librarian was put up on the class notice board for all to read. Whatever letter was written, this is the letter which was written by the librarian, and this letter was put on the notice board of class 4th. Every class has its own notice board, and on the notice board of class 4th, the letter which was written by librarian was put on the notice board or displayed on the notice board. Now what Mrs. Desai says. When Mrs. Desai walked into the classroom, the students of class 4th burst out into many exclamations of thanks. As soon as Mrs. Desai entered the class, all shouted because they were very happy. Only because of their teacher, they will be able to take storybooks at home, and they will be able to read storybooks at home. And so they shouted into many exclamations. Shall we write a letter of thanks to the librarian? Suggested Manuja. Now what happened? Students wrote a letter to principal. Principal told librarian to write letter to the students. Again, now students are saying that shall we write letter to the librarian to say him thanks? So what teacher says now? That's an excellent idea, said Mrs. Desai, smiling to herself at this news interest in formal letter writing. This is a letter of thanks the children wrote to the librarian. Now you are going to write down thanks letter to the librarian. Okay. Now you are going to write down your own letter. Which letter was written? How you have written letter to the principal? In same way you have to write down now letter to the librarian. So for example, on the right hand side you have to write down class 4th Sri Ganesh International School, Korhale, date. Now for example, today's date is 25, so you have to write down 25/12/2020. now here to whom? To the librarian. To the librarian, Sri Ganesh International School. Sri Ganesh International School. Downside you have to write down subject and expression of thanks. Now subject. An expression of thanks. This will come in what? In subject. Okay. Now you have to start here. Dear sir. Dear Sir. And then remaining part you write down as it is, how it is written in this book. Same you have to write down. For example here, thank you ever so much for kindly making the home reading facilities available to us. We are really grateful that we can now read books of our choice at the stretch. Thank you very much for your encouragement. We promise to abide by the library rules and handle the books with the great care. Many thanks once again. Yours faithfully, students of class 4th. This you have to write down on your own. But what will be your format? Your format will be like this: class 4th, Sri Ganesh International School, Korai, date 25/12/2020, to the librarian, Sri Ganesh International School, subject and expression of thanks. This format should be as it is. Whatever I have written, this only format should come in your notebook. And then remaining part you have to write down from here. Okay. Dear Sir, thank you ever so much for kindly making the home reading facilities available. Okay, there are some more sentences in the book you have to write down in same way. I think you have understood how we have to write formal letters. If you have any problem, you can ask me. Now backside here it is given that you wish to use the assembly hall to hold an exhibition of your science project. Write a letter to request the principal to allow you to use the hall. Next one, Mr. and Mrs. Prabhune, past students of your school, have given you every kind of help to hold the exhibition. Write a letter of thanks to them. You may find the following format using when you write a letter. This is a format and this is your homework. Okay, first you have to complete this letter in your notebook, and then you have to write down a formal letter to the principal requesting him to hold a exhibition, any exhibition, science exhibition or art and craft exhibition, in the which hall? In the assembly hall. Every school has one big hall where assemblies are held. So taking permission of principal to allow students to use assembly hall. That is your homework which you have to do. Okay, please complete your homework in time and send it on WhatsApp group, and please try to complete your homeworks. Many students are not completing, only 1 or 2 students are completing their homeworks. If teacher is not telling you homework, you can do something, you can write something on your own and send it on WhatsApp group. Okay, you have to complete your homework regularly. Okay, thank you.